Gustafson.
Here.
Terry.
Here.
J.R. Smith.
Here.
Crabner. Mayor.
Here, our invocation and pledge to be led by Councilmember Shane Perry. Please rise.
I think for another wonderful day here in Spanish Fort. Thanks for the opportunity to get here and represent our citizens and community. I just pray you give us the wisdom and guidance to make decisions that we feel are necessary to meet the needs of our people that we serve. Father, thank you for our firefighters and police that serve us every day. We pray for their service and safety as they get throughout the day and the duties. I thank you for just the opportunity to be here with a great group of people. In the name of Jesus. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which is one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perry. Ask for the approval of the previous meeting. Mayor, I never asked if you want to report on the school commission.
I'll go over the brief information, and then Tracy Roberts, who's our chairperson, plans to be at the next meeting. I handed out to council all of the different proposals that were approved by the three meal tax committee. Just to give you a background, the teachers submit their request to the principals. They compile all their requests for their total budget, and then it goes to the Board of Education. And John Wilson, who's the CFO of the Board of Education, goes through them all to make sure that they are appropriate for what the three meal tax money was intended for. So this Spanish Fort Elementary was approved for $305,200, Rockwell $303,000, Stonebridge $231,995, Spanish Fort Middle School $327,356, and the high school $411,872, for a total of $1,579,423. The county projects $1.32 million in revenue from this tax next year, and there currently is a $700,000 carryover. So this, even though we budgeted higher than what we expect to take in, we're eating into that carryover a little bit. So if you want more information about this, then at the next meeting, Tracy Roberts will be presenting some information there.
Mayor. Open up the floor for public participation. I'd like to address the council. Now is your opportunity. Please give us your name and address. From the podium, please hit the speak button.
Good morning. Good evening. My name is Denise Bryant. I live at 125 Wilson Drive, and I am the parent of women nutrition in Spanish Fort. And I would like to thank the mayor and the council for having me here tonight. I am extremely proud of having represented Spanish Fort at the Miss Senior Alabama pageant, and I am happy to say that I will be representing the city again in 2025. I look forward to having all of your support. As you probably know, the event was held at the Daphne Civic Center. However, our delegates, board members, and many special guests and families stayed at the hotels in Spanish Fort. They could not say enough about how well they were treated by our city. Many of you may not know that the pageant has decided to make Daphne their permanent home for all future pageants, and I can assure you they will again be staying at the hotels here in Spanish Fort. The mission of MFA is to encourage senior women to become more active, not only in their daily life, but in their community. I am already extremely active as a walker, a golfer, and director with the Baldwin Senior Travelers. But now I have a goal getting back some of the profits to where they want. It would be a huge attraction to many who are considering establishing their base Huntington. This would be a huge attraction, and it would also benefit the senior citizens of the community who can no longer till and prepare soil for planting but still honor their ancestors. I have been given names of leaders of garden clubs in the area and planning to contact them about the beautification board. I would like this board to work closely with the Public Works Department in identifying areas that can use a bit of TLC and also what can be planted. This board will be able to maintain some garden areas for the city around the pond and in front of the city and library building. I also hope they will have insight on how to get the community garden up and running. And I thank you for your time and attention. I hope to bring more concrete ideas to future council meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for these thoughts. Sound like. So please be aware of your neighbors, your four-legged friends, those things also. There is no old business. On new business, we have swearing in of some junior city council members. We have Allison Robinson and Krista Hoffman to be sworn in by City Clerk Becky Gaines. If y'all come to the podium, please.
If y'all will repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Allison Robinson,
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
and the Constitution of the State of Alabama,
so long as I continue a citizen thereof,
so long as I consider a citizen thereof,
and that I will faithfully and honestly discharge
and I will faithfully and honestly discharge
the duties of the office of Junior City Council Member,
the duties of the office of the Junior City Council Member,
upon which I am about to enter,
upon which I am about to enter,
faithfully and honestly to the best of my ability, so help me God.
faithfully and honestly to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Welcome. Now your first meeting's next week, so get ready. Let's get a lot done. We got a good year, a lot to be done, and y'all can contribute to us in the city very much, and I'm so glad to have you here. If you would, walk around there, introduce yourself to the council members and everyone, and we'll see you on Monday. All right? This is a good thing, the youth being involved. Unfortunately, we got to put up with another Robinson in the city hall for a while. Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to present ordinance number 668, 2024, an ordinance granting non-exclusive franchise to Mediacom Southeast LLC for the purpose of maintaining distribution lines for the provision of cable television within the public rights-of-ways of the city of Spanish Fort. David?
Mayor, as we discussed in the work session, ordinance number 668, 2024 is a proposed franchise for cable services with Mediacom Southeast, and ordinance number 670, 2024 is a proposed franchise with Comcast. We also have some other proposed franchises that have been requested, and so we are trying to negotiate and come up with a form franchise to apply to all, and to allow for some additional time, we request that those two items be postponed to a subsequent meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Connor. Discussion from the council? As Mr. Connor explained, both ordinance number 668 and 670 will be on your July 15th agenda. We'll have a public hearing tonight on ordinance number 671, 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification certain property as B2, local business district. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed ordinance establishing and pre-zoning the subject property owned by Mag 7 LLC to B2 local business district. This property is located at the southeast corner of Highway 225 and White House Fork Road Extension. It is south of the Longleaf development, which the developers of that development have also expressed an interest in annexing that property into the city of Spanish Fort as part of a planned unit development, which they are developing and will submit for pre-zoning at a later date. If you approve this ordinance, upon annexation of the property by subsequent annexation ordinance, it would become automatically zoned as B2.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? I'll open up the podium for public hearing. If you would, please give us your name and address. Public hearing is now open. If you'd like to address this, please come forward. Public hearing is now closed. Discussion from the council. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 671-2024.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes. Ordinance is adopted. We'll also have a public hearing on ordinance number 672, 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, changing the zoning classification certain property known as Kirby PUD to a planned unit development, and establishing the zoning classification of a certain property as part of the Kirby PUD as a planned unit development. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed pre-zoning of a portion of the property and that portion of the property that is inside the corporate limits of the city. This property is located adjacent to the I-10 Commerce Center. The northern half of the property is inside the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. The southern half of the property is outside the corporate limits. They have requested that the property be pre-zoned for a planned unit development. That planned unit development master plan was submitted to the Planning Commission, and it includes single-family residential houses on approximately I'm going to say 4/5 of the property, with a section of it being reserved for the construction of many warehouses, many storage warehouses on the east side of the property. The Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for the planned unit development approval request, but the application did leave the Planning Commission with some outstanding issues that are yet to be resolved, which includes the impact from a traffic study on Highway 31 and how and when, under what circumstances, those required traffic improvements will be constructed. With previous developments prior to approval, we usually have in place a proposed plan or agreement between the Alabama Department of Transportation and the applicant regarding the circumstances or triggers upon which that work will be done. It is my understanding, based on our discussion and work session, that while we have a public hearing here tonight, you may postpone action on the final vote on this item until you get further information regarding the traffic study.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Case, I'm going to ask you a question real quick. Have you heard from these people about the traffic light?
I don't believe we've had any discussions about it since the Planning Commission, since the last meeting.
Good deal. Any discussion from the council? I'll open up the public hearing. Please give us your name and address if you'd like to discuss this item. No need to run. We'll keep it open. Hit that speak button for me if you would.
That it?
Yes, sir.
Horace Williford, 30250 Lee Road. We've got questions about the traffic on Old Highway 31 that Lee Road comes off of, and buffer zone where those mini warehouses are proposed, and of course, our garbage and just the Lee Road period. What's gonna happen out there?
If you please, yeah, is that all your questions? We'll address them. Okay. When you say garbage, what are you referring to? When somebody just throwing trash out on the road, is that what you're saying, or what?
Well, that happens too, but
Yeah,
no,
I'm
this
sure.
is just our pickup, because we are not in the city limits.
Right.
So the county
Correct.
is waste management, so we've got an area there where all the cans are set, and that's where the garbage truck picks them up.
Okay. That wouldn't
it's gonna
change.
be right-
That wouldn't change if y'all staying in the county, the residents there.
Well, this road, this second entrance or whatever, is possibly gonna affect exactly where that is.
Just that side of the road will be in the
Yes,
city,
sir.
though.
Yeah, well, the other side of the road's private property.
Yeah. I can assure you any buffers would be in place prior to any site plans on the warehouse and being put in place. It would not happen without some kind of proper buffer. And I think we haven't seen those plans entirely yet.
Yeah, just for the backup of the council, originally they had drawn some warehouse configurations on that site.
Right.
Not warehouse, mini storage configurations on that site. But we were not satisfied that that would meet the underlying requirements of the zoning ordinance, so we had them just to reserve the area where they would like to have those, so that when that time comes, all applicable zoning requirements will be applied to that site. And so if they're inconsistent uses, then that will require buffering of some kind, fencing, plantings, whatever is required, based on the zoning ordinance.
Okay, well, my concern with it is I'll be looking right out my front door, right at those warehouses. All of us right along there.
You know, if you look at asphalt services on Old 31, and they put those big cypress trees, Leland
Cedars.
cypresses,
Yeah.
that's kind of, that was a requirement that the city had for them to do that. And you
Right.
really can't see back there where those trees are. And I would assume, require something very similar to that.
Okay.
Kurt, you or David, since it's been a while since I got off the planning commission, but I don't know that the planning commission usually gives a specific tree. It's just is it a 10-foot planting buffer?
The buffer can either be fencing or can be trees.
Right.
The landscaping ordinance does require additional requirements as it relates to trees or buffering, and it does specify what types of trees, but it's a laundry list that can be selected. So when that time comes, that's something that we want to make sure we look at and cover, and you can give insight at that time with the site plan process as well.
Okay, how about no warehouses?
Well, it's
It's mini-
limited,
it's
it's
mini
not
storage,
warehouses,
but it's mini
I
storage.
just
It's
thought I'd
not-
throw
Yeah.
that in there.
Yeah,
that,
mini
that was
storage.
the stipulation, is mini storage only.
And I had questions about that whenever it first came here, and it's earmarked for mini storage only.
Anyone else? Please come forward.
Good evening, I'm Craig Johnson, I'm representing EDG and Mr.
I'm
Kirby on
sorry,
this.
did you get, I didn't catch your
Craig
name.
Johnson.
Craig Johnson?
Yes.
Okay.
We did have correspondence. We sent the correspondence to the clerk we just heard back, Mayor, as you know, Friday afternoon after lunch from ALDOT. We've been waiting 2 months. They did come back and they agreed to the traffic study, the last one that was sent in, and they agreed with exactly what the report had, which was a turn bay on 31031 and a signalization at Pinion in 31. So that was their, basically they agreed with what the recommendation was from on the
Who's
traffic
paying
study.
for the traffic light?
Well, if the city wants the light,
The city's not paying for that light.
no, but if the city wants the light, then that's when we'll talk about that. But my understanding in the last meeting we had with ALDOT before this third traffic study was, or the rendition of the traffic study, was that the ALDOT was gonna defer to the city, to you, whether you wanted the light or not, and they would enforce whatever your decision was gonna be.
We've heard nothing from AlDOT at this point, so Casey, if you'd reach out to whoever at AlDOT, that would be.
Michael
Mr.
Smith, yeah.
Mike Smith?
Yeah.
Casey, if you'd reach out to Mr. Smith and see what their stance are. I've got to have something in writing, and we'll figure this all out.
But once again, we will abide by whatever the traffic study, and the city requires to do on this road. As the big item is the cost of this traffic light. You know, the traffic study did say that right now, with no development, that there is a warranted signalization for Pinion as well as 31031. But if they did, with the other lights you're putting in, the turn lane in on 31031 would go to just a right turn lane from eastbound traffic. I mean, westbound going east, which would be eastbound traffic.
Yeah.
So that's what was in the recommendation. So it's warranted as it sits today, and it was warranted, I think, when we started this traffic study a year ago. So we're just asking for anything we can do to get some help on this for everybody else that's going to be using it. If you'll take this development, we're less than 30% of everything on that road. But at this point in time, we're expected to pay 100% of this cost.
Just out of curiosity, until we see anything from AlDOT, did they offer to pay anything at all?
Who?
For AlDOT?
No, AlDOT's not gonna pay anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take all this under consideration.
But we were, you know, this is a pre-zone request before annexation. So I would just like for this to, if we could do anything to move it forward, to get it to the next step where we could start the process.
I'm one vote, sir, up here, and we probably won't even bring this up to a vote tonight until we see some agreements from AlDOT.
Okay.
Because until we know those things, I cannot in good faith vote for anything.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So moving forward on the cost that's associated with this, who and when could we set that up with the city, and who do we need to go through?
Once
Do
we
go through
see what
Casey?
AlDOT has sent you, then we can have some meetings to discuss it with Casey and Mr. Connor and myself.
Okay. I think the city clerk has that email, pretty sure. From Michael, it was one from Michael Smith. I believe we forwarded it to
Yes,
Officer.
I informed the mayor that I got an email that y'all said some
Perfect.
issues were resolved, but
Right.
not details.
So
Yeah,
we'll,
I got to see details.
okay, all right, fair enough.
Okay, is that fair?
But I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Anyone else? Public, oh, I'm sorry. I was too quick. I didn't see you moving back there.
Tim McKenzie, 30234A Lee Road. The way that drawing is for that second entrance onto Lee Road, comes in and sweeps right. That should be a straight into Lee Road. That's about where the county maintenance ends. That's where Mr. Williford was stating we put our trash cans, because from there south is not county maintained. It's a private road. And we're concerned with traffic coming out of that subdivision, because most people will use the back entrance. Lee Road's already got Savannah Woods and Whisper Woods dumping into it. They don't stop at stop signs, but get yourself killed going up Lee Road. I want to know what kind of, we can be told that we're going to be safe on our road going in and out.
I want to make sure I understood what you just said at the beginning. Where that curves back to the right.
There should be a straight into Lee Road.
Right here.
Yes, sir. That should be straight into Lee Road, an
Right,
intersection.
So to the south is
A private lane.
road.
That's a private
And
Lee
this is
Road lane.
county
That's county
maintained?
maintained to the right.
Okay.
And the road needs to be upgraded. The county hasn't paved it probably in 15, 20 years since they put the first asphalt on it, because when we moved out there, it was all dirt. We've begged for city water. The water board told us when Savannah Woods built, they'd pop out a line and get it to us. Now they refuse to. We don't get, there's no city sewer, no city water, and Fiber optics won't go out there, they stop at the subdivision, and that's it.
Well, I understand
And
the
we've been promised
city is
over years
not
that it
in
would
the
happen.
water business,
Oh, I know.
are you? Okay.
I know.
Just so, make sure
Just
we're
airing it out.
perfectly clear, you know, that's not our, we're not in
Right.
that business.
But I'm just saying, we've been promised for years stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Have you talked to the county about repaving that road?
Oh, numerous times. They'll come and patch some holes on the side. And where the trash can trucks stop, they tear up the asphalt there. The way they spin, that's where the school buses turn around too, tears up the asphalt. Because the school bus has to go to that, about where our trash cans are, and back in or pull in, and then back out to turn around and come back out.
Well, if that's built, they won't have to turn around like that. They can go through the neighborhood.
Yeah, they can turn right and go that way.
Yeah.
But we just want some assurances that our Lee Road will be taken care of, improvements be made on it, stop signs, that hopefully, if y'all annex it, will be policed, that people will adhere to
Well,
them.
we'll be annexing one side of the road, that doesn't mean.
Well,
we
isn't part of
annex the
Savannah
other
Woods
side
in the
of
city
road.
now?
Pardon?
Isn't part of Savannah Woods in the city now?
Savannah Woods, yes.
It's further up here. And they don't stop coming out of the, to the right where that swoop is?
Okay, 'cause the red's in the city and the green's, the light green's in the city, so.
Right.
Up there is
sections of
Savannah.
that-
Where Whitaker is,
sections
yes.
of that should be city maintained, shouldn't they?
In Spanish, Savannah Woods, yes. But
leave
this is in the county. On that side, now, Connor, help me with this now. Is the dark green in the city also? It's not?
I think the red there is in the city. There you go.
There you go.
The green is in the city.
Who did that?
Whether or not we've undertaken that for maintenance, you'd have to look to see if the county was maintaining it prior to the time we annexed it or not. I've been told, well, here today, that coming down to where the north corner of the commercial is, that the county had maintained down to this point, right there. Yep. But then south of that was private. Is that right?
Actually, you get almost to Windy Woods, it's county maintained.
Where are you talking about?
Come down a little bit with the
Windy Woods,
pointer, right
right
there.
there.
Because
Okay.
when Mike Busby built that road, he got the county to annex, and they took all the maintenance down to Windy Woods.
But not going south, the county's not maintained going south?
Not from their south, that's our road. It's a one-lane road.
Well, city certainly would not be maintaining a private road, and certainly if it's not in our city limits either. Yeah.
But y'all border that main Lee Road coming down Feedings.
Ms. Connor, you'd have to tell me how that works. How does it work when
Well,
one
well-
side of the road's in the city and one's in the
Yeah,
county?
It's like we hopscotch. We got the red, we got the light green, we got the dark green that's not in the city, then we've got the light green again.
Well, one of my questions I'll ask you, since you're standing there, Tim, and the other gentleman's already sat down. When he said something about we put our trash cans there, and that's where they pick up the trash.
The waste management will not come down our lane.
No, my question is, who owns that land where you're putting the trash cans?
Right away on the west side. County owns it.
It's on the county right away? Okay.
And if during hurricanes and all, we have to drag any storm debris down Lee Road on the west side to pile it so that they'll pick it up, or they will not come get it. That'll ruin a burner. That wouldn't be free.
to answer your question, you have to look at each scenario to see exactly how and when it was constructed. As a general rule, after, I think it's 1995, if a city annexes both sides of a road and the county has been maintaining that road for a year or longer, then there can be a request to deal with maintenance. But that, in this case, like you say, you have a hodgepodge together of places where it's in and out. And so those are all things that you'd have to take a look at and make a determination how and to what extent the city would want to undertake it for maintenance.
Okay, but you made a statement, both sides.
Both sides. I was gonna go there too.
What if we got one side, county has the other? How do you?
Then the statute doesn't take or require maintenance to be taken over. If the city
So the
annexes.
county would still maintain it?
That's correct. If the city annexes both sides, then there could be a procedure that could be invoked to address that. But as a general rule, after 1995, if you annex both sides of the road, then and the county had been maintaining it, then that's something that you have to consider. But until that happens, it still remains in county maintenance or whoever was maintaining it prior to that time.
We'll have to look at that on an individual basis as far as the northern section of Lee Road about what. Once again, I have no say-so about utilities. It's not a city water service, and it's not a city, you press the speak button. The sewer is not city either, that's private entities.
Well, it's the same with the light. If they're gonna build a subdivision and they need a light, it should be paid for by the developer. But all infrastructure improvements should be paid for by the developer, I believe.
You saying the developer should run Spanish water?
No, I'm saying if they're gonna build infrastructure in there and pay for they'll lay down the lines when you develop it. I've watched other developers develop. They run the water lines, they run sewer lines, and then the utilities hook to it. If they're gonna do that, then we would like to see if we could get a water hydrant, fire hydrant on Lee Road to help us with our insurance. And if there's to be a light at Pinion, developers should have to pay for that because they're increasing the traffic flow on that road.
Mayor, if I may, as it relates to the light, that's one of the discussions that's being had while they're trying to get additional information from ALDOT. As it relates to the infrastructure improvements within the development, the developer pays for the construction along with whatever the utility costs are, whatever the deal they strike on to have those installed, whether that be electrical, sewer, gas, water, whatever that is. The city doesn't have any utilities that it owns or operates, and so what the city has done is create the opportunity for the competition to be several different providers to choose from as it relates to some of these providers. Now, once they put their lines in an area and get closer to you, then the cost, of course, of extending those lines further goes down. But it's not the developers of this subdivision's responsibility to extend the lines to your property. Once they get there, they're going to be a lot closer. And so I would think at that point in time, you all might be, as a group, able to negotiate with the water provider or the sewer provider to give you a cost on what it would take to extend those lines to you.
I don't care if the water comes to my property. I want a fire hydrant close enough that my insurance will go down.
Yes, sir. And they, again, if that's not part of the development, if it's not required for this development, then that might be something you could negotiate to have them extend the line
and
at some cost to put a fire hydrant there.
Okay. And going back to the ALDOT question, I've talked to people at ALDOT before, and what he said is true. ALDOT ain't gonna pay for it. They've already told me they have no intention of a light going there. Because we tried to get them to put the stop sign back at Pinion that they took out when they made that little cut through. And so now a private neighborhood dumps onto a county road and a state road with more right-of-way than the people on the county road or the state road. That's what I was told.
It's a mess.
Yes, sir. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
I'm telling you. We all recognize that something's got to happen to alleviate some traffic in that area. And that's more than just one thing. Obviously, the obvious one is 4-lane and 31.
They should have done that already.
Obviously. And we're having a discussion with them, and I'm getting off the public hearing. I shouldn't be doing this, should I, legally? Okay. Just don't let me go to jail. Been there, don't want to do that again. 31, it's got to happen. That's got to be 4-lane all the way to 59. All right. The other thing that's got to happen, which we're having conversations with the county on now, is extending 031 into the Eastern Shore Center to alleviate some issue off of that intersection by New Life Church.
Right.
And that would help alleviate some things at Pinion Drive. So it's a combination of a lot of things that's got to happen to come to be. But right now, it is a mess back there, and I know that.
It didn't used to be.
I don't own the property.
Well, you can call it progress or what, but okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's David Stovall. I'm also with Engineering Design Group. Back to our discussion about the traffic study and communications with the DOT. Can I get some clarification from the city as to, you said you want details. Can we get some clarification as to exactly what details the city needs from us before we come back down here?
Mr. Connor, would you address that through Planning Commission?
I guess something came through Friday, but I don't think anybody here has had a chance to look at it or review it. In past, when we've had warrants for a traffic signal or some other intersection improvements, I take, for example, Brentwood subdivision at Stroh Road. AlDOT would look at when the trigger occurs, and so in that case, the developer and the AlDOT and we as an accommodation party entered into an agreement to assist AlDOT and them, and when they hit the trigger, and for that development, it was the 107th approved lot. When they got 107 lots, I think it was, Ursula, if I get that wrong, then that triggered the time frame within which they had to begin to do the work, complete the work, do the design, do the installation of the light. This project is a little bit different in that the warrant is already there before anything's built. And so it's a little bit different. The trigger's not in the future. The trigger's now, or has been there. And so basically, we don't have enough information sitting here today. No one's presented an agreement to us where it says AlDOT and the developer agree X, this is what happens when, and we haven't been asked to sign anything. And so that's what we'll be asking is, what should it be? Is there going to be an agreement? What does that look like? Are we involved or are we not? That's kind of how what we've been used to here recently in projects, especially along 31, where traffic is such an issue.
Right. And my understanding from the discussions that have been held heretofore concerning the traffic study and the city's involvement and the state's involvement was that, at least to some degree, the state was deferring to the city as to what the city wanted to see there. And so I think it's critical that we have both the city and the state as part of that discussion in order to get to that resolution that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think we're all ready, willing, and able. I know we've never turned down a request to come to a call or conference, and matter of fact, I participated in one or two along with Matthew Jones regarding the traffic study as submitted early on. If I'm thinking about this as the right project, I think early on they wanted to have some improvements done next to the church at that intersection. It was determined that that'd be a whole lot more costly than having it done somewhere else potentially, and there was even some discussions about whether or not creating a new extension of the road across some property there, which we're all certainly willing to help in any way. So we're more than willing to participate in those discussions and help in any way we can. Like I said, we just got a report back. I didn't learn about it just a few moments ago, but apparently there was an email that's got there. So we're ready, willing, and able to meet and talk with y'all anytime you can.
Okay, so if we can get this meeting set up, but we've got to have a resolution executed by the city prior to our ability to get a pre-zoning done?
Well, I don't know that we've ever necessarily required to be a party to it. AlDOT has requested us to be a party to those agreements in the past. Usually it's an agreement between AlDOT and the developer over curb cuts and how and when things are supposed to happen regarding permitting that they've asked us to participate in, and I assume we're willing to do that as well, again, as an accommodation party. We don't take on any liability, we don't take any responsibility, and we didn't share in the cost of Stroh Road. But if it will help facilitate the discussions and help facilitate moving it forward, we're glad to help participate in those discussions any way we can.
Right. I'm just trying to get as much information as I can get so that we know exactly what boxes we need to check in order to come back and move this thing to a vote. Because as you know, this thing's been going on for quite a while. The owner is anxious to get us to some place where we can start spending money that has some chance of coming back to him. So I think
and from a standpoint of the development, I haven't heard. I think the Planning Commission forwarded a positive recommendation, and in fact, that was an item that was still outstanding at the Planning Commission level because y'all hadn't got an answer back from AlDOT yet. And in an effort to not stall you at the Planning Commission level, we went ahead and took a recommendation from the Planning Commission, but we announced to y'all at that meeting that prior to the City Council taking action, we'd have to have that resolved.
Right.
And so
And
we did.
That's what I'm trying to figure out is what exactly does resolved mean?
Resolve means that you got an agreement that's got defined terms and parameters as to how and under what circumstances that light is to be constructed, who's to pay for it, and who's going to be a party to the agreement that can enforce it.
Okay. And so, we'll be in touch about setting that up,
Absolutely.
try to get that done as quickly
Glad to
as
help
we
any way we can.
do that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Public hearing is now closed. Any discussion from the council? I personally don't feel like we're in the shape to vote on this tonight, so I'm not going to ask for a motion until we have what we need from MalDOT and everybody's on the same pew. Ms. Connor, is that proper way to approach that one?
I think that's right, unless there's some alternate arrangement that we can work out that gives everybody comfort, but that's what we've been looking for in the past.
Can I ask a question? Since you brought it up.
Sure.
About connectivity to the Eastern Shore Center, can you show on this map where, is it that greens? Where is it connecting? Potentially,
that's-
one day? And it's where the power lines are?
No.
Do it?
That's in the
All right.
negotiation.
All right.
If you,
I didn't ask that question.
if you don't mind. I'm trying.
You brought it up.
Well, I just said we'd be connected. I didn't try to
Okay.
say where.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? All right, moving forward to Resolution 1419, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter a contract services between the City of Spanish Fort and the Spanish Fort Sports Association. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, the City of Spanish Fort and the Spanish Fort Sports Association have been working together for a long time. They provide a great service to the city in providing league play for activities for Spanish Fort residents and in league play. This contract provides for $20,000 to the association, providing league play in baseball and softball for the general public for the, all aspects of the program for this calendar year.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Move that we accept resolution 1419-2024.
Second.
Okay, we got a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes. I'd like to present Resolution 1420, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with provisions of athletic camps. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into contract for the provision of athletic camps with the contractor who is the head football coach at Spanish Fort High School. This is for a term of 1 year, and this is for the provision of camps for all all athletic sports provided at Spanish Fort High School. It is in the amount of $42,000, which will be paid based on the pay for each camp, coach, directors, overall directors, and salaries submitted as part of the process. They'll be paid subject to withholding for work comp, as we've done, and the copy of that agreement is attached to the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution number 1420-2024.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1421, 2024, a resolution amending the Police Department Policy Manual. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed resolution amending the Police Department Policy Manual as adopted, subject to the approval by the mayor of those provisions. As this involves police policies and standards and training and procedures, those are kept confidential in order to protect the public health, safety, and welfare and the officer safety.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? This is the first reading and will be on your July 15th agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1422, 2024, a resolution awarding a bid for debris monitoring, management, and recovery services. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed bid award for debris monitoring, disaster management, and recovery services. This is the company that oversees and accounts, helps for the accounting and review and monitoring of the contractor and the subcontractors doing debris cleanup. There were two bids that were submitted, one by Thompson Consulting Services, LLC, and True North. This resolution would state that the lowest responsible and responsive bidder is Thompson Consulting, LLC, in accordance with their bid dated June 6, 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kurt Smith? Gustafson?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes.
J.R. Smith?
Yes.
Brabner? Mayor?
Yes. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 1422, 2024.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kurt Smith?
Yes.
Gustafson?
Yes.
Perry?
Yes.
J.R. Smith?
Yes.
Brabner? Mayor?
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1423, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with NRT Specialty Trailers for portable restroom facilities at Integrity Park. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed resolution to enter into an agreement with NRT Specialty Trailers to purchase portable restroom facilities for use at Integrity Park. This is based on a General Service Administration contract, GS 30F040BA, which has previously been bid, and you're buying it off that bid package. And so the total amount of the contract is $60,804.50 for the design, build, transportation, and installation of the public portable restroom in accordance with the proposal and bid documents that are attached to the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Being introduced tonight will be on July 15th agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1424, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Sasser Electrical Systems, Inc. for the installation of LED lighting at Spanish Fork Community Center. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this proposed resolution to approve an agreement with Sasser Electric Services, LLC, Sasser Electric Services, Inc., for the installation of LED lighting at Spanish Fork Community Center. The amount of the contract is for $48,810 for the installation of LED lighting in the Spanish Fork Community Center lobby, Spanish Fork Library, and the multipurpose room at the Spanish Fork Community Center. Attached as Exhibit 1 is a copy of the proposals and alternates for each of those areas, including the lobby again, library, multipurpose room, including any alternates related to those installations.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Also being introduced tonight will be on July 15th agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1425, 2024, a resolution awarding a bid for Spanish Fork Community Center Elevator Addition. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, Rolling Construction, Inc. was the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $340,000 for the installation of the elevator at the Spanish Fork Community Center based on their bid submitted on June 25, 2024. A copy of the bid tabulation is attached, as well as a bid bond and supporting licensing and other requirements submitted as part of the bid.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Being introduced tonight will be on July 15th agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1426, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Hunter Security for the installation of security measures here at the Spanish Fork Community Center. David?
Mayor, this is a proposed agreement with Hunter Security for security installations regarding monitoring and other installations to assist in securing the building and providing for the public health, safety, and welfare. A copy of the proposal is attached as Exhibit 1. One of the proposals or scope of work is in the amount of $19,960 involving monitoring and installation, and has a $25 a month service charge. In addition, There's additional provisions regarding doors and other facilities that's approximately $4,054.59. Both of those attachments or proposals are attached to the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council?
Weren't we gonna add that this, or I guess we're gonna add it the next time since we're just introducing it? Never mind.
Thank you, sir. Any other discussion? Be on July 15th agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1427, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Spanish Fort and Sawgrass Consulting, LLC. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a resolution authorizing you to enter a contract with Sawgrass Consulting, LLC on behalf of the city for land surveying, design services, and construction services related to the design and construction of a Spanish Main sidewalk project in the city of Spanish Fort. The city has budgeted funds for this year, and this would cover the cost of the design, which is for approximately 8,900 linear feet of sidewalk. The design cost for that project would be $80,000 for that length of right-of-way. The additional funds, if available for that year, would be based on the construction management and any available funds for actual construction. It is my understanding that based on the amount of cost involved, that this will be done over a phased period of time from year to year based on when and how money becomes appropriated or available.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion? The July 15th agenda is getting bigger and bigger right now, isn't it? I'd like to introduce Resolution 1428, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter in an agreement with Mobile Fence Company for installation of fencing at the Spanish Fort holding facility. Mr. Connor?
This would provide fencing around the Spanish Fort dog holding facility. The amount of the contract is $11,991 with Mobile Fence Company. A copy of the proposal is attached to Exhibit 1, and it is in the amount again of $11,991.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Here again, July 15th will be your next opportunity to talk about that. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1429, 2024, a resolution awarding a bid for the Spanish Fort Central Fire Station. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed bid for the Spanish Fort Central Fire Station. Those bids were just received last week and are under review by staff regarding the alternates and how and under what circumstances they should be awarded. It is my understanding that we'll receive a subsequent recommendation regarding the award and contractors at a subsequent meeting to be considered.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This also will be on July 15th agenda. Any other business come before the council tonight? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.